My name's Iain Miller and I'm a rock climber living, working and playing in County Donegal in the Republic of Ireland. What I do is essentially two parts. I take people to places where they couldn't possibly go safely on their own, and I teach people to pretty much do what I do. I train people to be me, or to do the things that I do on a day-to-day basis. And what I tend to do almost every day, I do things that other people perceive to be dangerous, and I make them as safe as possible. I'm going to talk to you about fear. I'm going to tell you about a few things that perhaps I've learned over the last 30 years of doing this. I spend most of my life being scared. I think the best way to approach the subject of being scared is to categorise, well, simply, why am I scared? And there'll always be reasons. Two main categories of being scared: things you can control and things you can't control. So when you're scared of something or fearful of something's going to happen or not going to happen, what can you do to minimise the risk of it happening? And that's the first thing. First thing is you look at, what I do is I don't take risks in my occupation. I assess risks and then I deem whether the activity is worth pursuing on its risk factor. Perhaps one of the key things that motivate me is finding things that I first think are impossible. It might be a sea cliff, it might be a qualification, it might be a new skill, it doesn't matter what it is. It's things when you first think, I'd like to do that, I don't think I can, then that's what motivates me. You can't eat an elephant in one big bite. So what you do is, to eat an elephant, if that's what you're going to do, is you break it up into very small sections. The smaller the sections, the better. And one by one, you complete, or you complete those sections. You do this. You could eat the elephant in little tiny pieces, and pretty much anything can be accomplished if you put in enough time, enough effort, and just work at it from a very strategic and systematic way. Just keep plodding away, picking away at things you can't do. And what you find is that the more you can do, the things you originally couldn't do disappear. They go from the I can't do this category to I've just done it. If you're not having fun, then why are you doing it? That's kind of my motto or mantra. If I'm not having fun, then I'm not doing it. And that covers an awful lot of ground. I've managed to complete a circle, if you like, in which the way I earn a living is the way I have fun. When I'm out guiding and training and teaching people to be climbers and instructors, I'm having fun. And if I'm not having fun, I'm not doing it. It's very easy to find yourself motivated by things that don't really mean very much. Perhaps trying to make more money than you can ever spend, trying to do things that are not really going to make you happy. So I tend to think that if you can run your life to please not only yourself, but everybody around you. Perhaps the way to quantify fear is to say to yourself, if you're not scared, then you've just become complacent. Because fear is it's a way of honing in your senses. It's a way of making you focus. It's a way of aligning your senses and your emotions to pinpoint something. So being scared or fearful, ask yourself, why am I scared? What is it that's making me scared? In my occupation, I spend pretty much most of my life being scared. The way I see it is, if I'm not scared, then I've just become complacent. I'm not foreseeing things that are potentially going to cause harm, or I'm not I'm not on the ball. I'm assuming everything's going to be okay. So therefore, I'm not thinking ahead. I'm not preventing. I'm working off a reactive thought process rather than a proactive thought process. So with a proactive thought process, assume the worst. Allow your fears to manifest. And then you can remove the parts of the equation that are causing you to be fearful and remove them. The other part is there's things you can't control. There's things you take chances on. And if you can reduce the chance of whatever it is that you're scared of, then you're not taking risks. You're minimizing risks. And you become like a risk assessor. So being scared is not something you want to overcome, but it's something you want to harness. You want to be able to, okay, I'm scared. This is good. Why? And from there, you can move forward. Rather than dwelling on being scared, I'm scared, I don't want to. I'm scared, and this is why. If we internalize, if we look at the thought process of being scared, then we can see that there's pretty much two types of fear. There's rational fear and there's irrational fear. So I tend to remove irrational fear just immediately without really giving it much thought. If I don't know why I'm scared, then I look for reasons. If I can't find reasons, I keep looking until I find reasons. Irrational fear or being scared just because really doesn't help. Find the reason. And once you've found reasons, I'm now scared, I'm now fearful because, then you can start to say, okay, can I remove these reasons? Can I remove my fear by doing this, this or this? And if you can, you do it. If you can't, then it's a case of adjusting things either in your head or externally. And what you're doing is you're minimizing risk. You're minimizing the chance of whatever it is you're fearful or scared of happening. And it's through this process that we drive forward. We don't let fear hold us back. We use it as, it's a medium by which we move forward. Fear is not a negative emotion. Fear is an understanding that we actually have nothing to fear. What's the worst that could happen? If we take the worst case scenario within reason, we can all come up with worst case scenarios that are so unlikely to happen that why are we even thinking about them? Why is it part of our process? So worst case scenario within reason, within bounds of the laws of physics, if you like, then these are our reasons to be scared. We simply remove what we can, minimize what we can, and move forward. And a lot of the time, you'll think, okay, I'm scared, and I can't really justify taking this risk. Then don't. If that's what feels right, then don't. But don't dwell on the, I'm scared, I just can't do this. Make it so. If you imagine a triangle and you cut the triangle into three, and the bottom third is the base, and that's your planning, and that's the biggest part of any activity, is your planning. What you perceive is going to happen and what you're going to do if it does. And you'll spend sometimes 80% of your time in the planning stage. And then when you're ready to move on, you'll start to prepare. You'll start to prepare whatever you think you need to do. You're going to prepare for the worst. You're going to remove all your fears by having everything you need prior to beginning the operation ready to go. And the final part of the task is that if everything goes well, then you don't need to use any skill whatsoever. You simply go through Your planning, your preparation, and whatever it was you were going to do gets done. Now, if things go wrong during the operation, then you'll use the third and final part, and it's the smallest part of the operation. That's your skill. You don't want to use your skill. You want your planning and preparation to be so good that you don't need to use any skill to achieve. I think to define success, did I have fun? Yes, I did. Did the people around me have fun? Yes, they did. Job done. Success. There really isn't any other way to define success. Did you achieve? Yes. Great. Did you have fun? No. Then what was the point?